Oh, we have to say welcome. Who's going to do it?
Oh, go ahead. You can say welcome.
Welcome to the Cucumber New Contributors Ensemble. I'm Matt Wynn here in Nelson in British Columbia. And I'm joined by Blaise Papon in Franklin,
Franklin, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
That's right.
So why are we here, Blaise?
We are here because, oops, of course, too many tabs. Well, we're here because,
Shall I tell them
yes, go ahead.
while you get the next bit up? In 2017, GitHub surveyed over 10,000 open source contributors and just 3% of them were women. We believe that open source communities will be more vibrant, resilient, and effective if they include everyone. So we hold this space each week for anyone who is new to contributing to open source, especially people from groups who've historically been underrepresented in open source communities. Our goal is to provide a fun and welcoming environment where everyone can learn to contribute to open source. Can you remember the next bit, Blaise? So slick. We are so slick.
We are slick. We are totally slick. But I'm looking at the checklist, but it doesn't have the verbiage.
Scroll down. Scroll down. Down.
Scroll down. Scroll down. As Oh, I see. As host, as participant.
Scroll down a bit.
As driver. We have. Oh, here we go. Of course, they're great.
You're doing the green bit.
I'm doing the green bit. Oh, the ensemble programming.
Yeah.
That's what we use. We use an ensemble programming format, and we follow these principles: safety over comfort, equity over efficiency. We're here to give space to people who have traditionally been excluded from open source, even if that means going a little slower sometimes. Exploration and learning over perfection. So if you'd like to join us, you'd be very welcome. You can reach us at CucumberBDD on Twitter.
So what are we going to do this week? There's only two of us. We said last week that we wanted to do like some planning because Kate was feeling lost. How lost are you feeling? Are you feeling similarly a bit lost?
Well, yes, in the sense that I think I'm feeling less lost because I'm familiar with GitHub Actions and I kind of have a general intuition of what the final result will look like. However, if someone were to ask me how close we are to, say, our first exercise or our first deployment, then I wouldn't really know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I suggest that we do try to draw a map of the territory of like where we're at, why we're doing that, and what else there is left to do. So let's try and work with you asking me questions because it's in my head.
Okay.
Mostly. There may be some things that we'll just discover as we go.
Sure.
But it's mostly in my head. And let's try and get it out of my head and onto a plan in Miro. I have this way of expressing these things which I've used before. I described it last week a little bit, but it might be good to try and do that in practice. It's called a yak map.
Oh yes, that's right.
If we go to the Miro board, I think this will be a helpful tool for us. I'm going to move the Zoom window across a bit so that we can show the Miro on the screen. And where should we do this on the Miro board? Should we just go?
Oh, there was a yak map, I think, to the far right.
Was there? I don't see a yak map. Oh yeah, there is. There's a thing called yak map, and it says inactive contributor bot roadmap. Okay. So the roadmap says do example mapping, define scenarios and rules, step definitions, parameterize steps, make steps for functional per scenario, all test pass, deploy. Okay, so this is a kind of like overall BDD workflow, which is fine, but we've got like specific things that we need to do. So we need to get a bit more specific than that. And we've got this one down here that we started with, which is inactive contributor board. Greg has been inactive for a year. automate the scenario, make the steps functional, implement the behavior. So we're kind of in implement the behavior, aren't we?
Well, so here's I think what might have been confusing to Kate, and it might be less evident to a newcomer, is the transition between doing unit level tests with the fake API
Yeah.
versus doing I guess integration or maybe end-to-end tests using the real API.
Yeah.
And so we may want to have some kind of a signal to indicate the transition from we're no longer using the fake, now we have to use the real one, and these are the things that change.
And then it's been tripped up by the fact that we've also changed what the API looks like. Okay, so let's see if we can draw this out. I just want to be reminded of what is the story that we're actually on with right now. Like which scenarios, which rule are we implementing? I'm going to just bring up the VS Code on the share on the stream, and I'm going to look in the feature files because in here we've been working on this rule that users become inactive after a year. That's the thing we've been working on. Users become inactive after a year. This is the key behavior. So let's start. I'm going to rename this node here on Miro. Are you looking at the mind map thing?
Getting it. Yes, Matt. There we go. You're way up there. Yes. Oh, you're further up. Yes,
and I'm going to just delete all the old clutter. And I'm going to delete these other things because these aren't relevant right now. I'm going to bring this up a little bit higher up on my screen. And the font size is quite small. Maybe I can just grow it.
Zoom in also.
Okay, that's nice. So this is a rule.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we are working on overall.
Yes.
And then what are all of the things that we have done, and what are we doing right now, and how does it relate to that? What was the last thing that we did? If I look at git log.
Oh yeah, git log.
We wrote a to do in this commit. So if I git show that commit. Right, so we're in the middle of replacing get last commit by with hasCommittedSince. So somewhere in our tree of things to do, but there's going to be things in between these two.
Yeah.
Right, we've got. I need to probably share my screen, Blaise, because.
Right ahead.
Are you with me? Are you in the same place?
I'm in the same.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, okay. I'm in the same Miro. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we need to do is kind of express like what's going on in between these two nodes here. Like why are we doing replace get last commit by with hasCommittedSince, and what does that have to do with implementing this rule? And what else do we need to do in order to implement this rule?
Well, I wonder if it wouldn't be more clear perhaps to have a second one where we basically had the, in other words, we originally had, in other words, here we go. We started, because at some point we're going to have to deprecate this.
Yeah.
And we can do it immediately because it doesn't really matter. But basically, right now we're in a situation where we have both of them.
Yeah.
So we may want to, I don't know, maybe shade that one out or something. So,
yeah, so these aren't, the idea isn't with this tree that these are options. The idea is that these are all things that we need to do, and they kind of depend on each other. So the reason that we're
this guy has a bunch of This guy has a bunch of whatever. And I think this is where we got.
So if you think about like why are we replacing get last commit by with has committed since? Why are we doing that?
Because this has less, we write less code. In other words, there's a native API call.
Yeah. So what were we doing when we discovered that this would be a good idea?
Ah, good point. So what we were doing was we were looking at the information that naturally comes back from, in other words, the properties of the repos are organized in a particular way in GitHub. And what we were doing was originally we were looking at how they were organized and trying to figure out how we would need to traverse.
Yeah, so we were looking at the real API for GitHub, and GitHub. Why were we looking at the real API for GitHub? Like this is
sure.
In terms of the tasks that we're doing on this project. What was the thing we were working on?
Yes, the thing that we were working on is we were trying to get we were trying to figure out for if a particular user had made any commit that was less than a year old.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a different question. Which component in the project, which class were we working on?
Yeah, we were working on. We were basically doing a search by user, or we were thinking about what we need to do is do a search by repo. Is that right? Let me think about that for a second. What class we were using? We were basically.
Which class were we implementing in the solution?
Oh.
Which TypeScript file were we working on?
We were working on fake GitHub.
So were we working on fake GitHub, or were we working on the other one?
The fake. Let's see. It's called. No, you're right. We were working on the other one, and then we extracted fake GitHub. That's right. We extracted fake GitHub when we realized that there was that when we got a better understanding of the GitHub API.
So I think what we were doing was we were implementing the OctaKit.
Yes,
GitHub
that's right.
Adapter.
That's right.
And then in doing that, we realized that we needed to replace get last commit by with has committed since. Yeah. And actually, we were doing that because we were trying to implement get last commit by on that API. And the other things was, but we've done this, and as part of implementing the OctaKit GitHub adapter, there is the get members of.
Yeah.
What else is on that GitHub interface that we need to implement on that OctaKit GitHub adapter? What else? What other methods do we need to implement? Can you see the code yet? Do you want me to invite you to
So OctaKit GitHub. So what we wrote down was add user to team, remove user from team, and get members of.
Right.
So let's get those.
Let's get those other ones. So add user to team.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other one?
Remove user from team.
Yeah.
And then
there was this has committed since.
Yeah.
And then we suddenly realized that we've doubled up. We've both written.
Remove. I see. Sorry about that. Okay. Right. Got it.
And then so we can say that what we were going to do was going to do get last commit by.
Right, I see.
And then we discovered that, no, we need to actually change things. So we need to do this.
Replace get commit. I see. Okay.
So now we're down the rabbit hole.
Right.
At this point here. So we could highlight this with like amber, because this is what we're working on right now. Get members of, I think we've done.
Yes. We have.
So that we could either like
Put it to green or something.
put
Do you
it to
want to change?
green, or we could cross it out. Green is nice, isn't it? It's satisfying to see it green.
Sure.
And then these two are still to do. So we're still going to need to implement these two in the OctaKit GitHub adapter.
Right.
But right. So that gives us a bit more of an idea of like where we are immediately. We're doing this replacement because we need to implement get last commit by on the OctaKit GitHub adapter. But why do we need to do that?
We need to do that because we have to retrieve the status. We have to retrieve information from GitHub.
Yeah, because we need a real implementation of our GitHub API, so that we can like actually run it in production. Actually test it. So we could give ourselves another node that is something like actually deploy to our what's that GitHub test
organization
test to our test inactive org and test manually, right? And we can't do that until we've implemented the Okta GitHub adapter, right?
Right. To actually deploy it, right?
Yeah.
And then we would need the failing tests for all of these things in advance.
Well, you see, this is the thing. It's like failing tests for what? Because it's difficult to get an end-to-end test that actually integrates with GitHub, and probably we're going to have to test it by hand. But we could also look back on what we did do before.
Yeah, we have the fake. Yeah.
Exactly. So we've got so let's think about like when we implemented. Why did we do that, and how did that fit into the picture?
Right. So we did that in order to provide different types of input for the units that we were writing when we wrote get members of, for example, in the OctaKit adapter.
Yeah. So we wanted to be able to run those cucumber scenarios.
Yes.
And have that drive out an implementation of our. So let's write the thing. So what did we call the function? We
called it. Let's see here. So we had OctaKit GitHub.test.
Yeah, but the real function is called retire inactive contributors. So we wanted to implement retire inactive contributors core logic.
Okay.
Right? And in order to do that, we used Cucumber to drive a scenario using drive the scenarios using a fake, and in order to do that we had to build a fake GitHub adapter. Does that make sense to you? The sort of pile of things that we did.
Does. Yes, absolutely.
And this is all green because we did this.
Yes.
So we could color all of these green. The problem is we did it with the wrong. We used get last commit by. And so that's the thing that we need to. Now we're in a rabbit hole, like refactoring. The stuff. So, but we can, because this is fractal. We can zoom right into this one here. Replace get last commit by with hasCommittedSince, and we can break down all of the things that we need to do in order to get that done. And every time we start doing one thing and we realize it's got three things inside it, we can model that on this plan.
Yeah.
Do you think this would help Kate to feel less lost?
I think yes. I think so because because then first of all, this is a little bit like a dependency chart, and I think that she can also then use this to determine how far away she is from the ultimate goal, which is to run the retire inactive contributors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she might also, I can imagine her looking at this and saying, well, would it have been, given that there was a kind of a trade-off here between implementing get members of versus get last commit by, and our decision was based on the fact that implementing get members of would require a lot more logic that might need to then be, whatever. It might be more brittle. Um, she might have potentially made a different decision.
Yeah, so we can see a different. We can see the implications of that decision.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to colour all of these the leg that we're working on orange. Well, so given now that we've drawn this, should we start doing some coding?
Yeah.
I feel like we're ready to do that.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So I better share a VS Code Live share link with you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Let's get one. Whoa, it's not doing anything today. That's weird.
So a Yak Mac is kind of like a dependency chart.
It is. It's a dependency of tasks. It's kind of like a Gantt chart. Remember them?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. God. All right. How's your live share doing?
It's not happening.
Okay. Do you?
Why not?
Do you want me to shoot an IntelliJ link over to you?
We could try. I could like to give this a little bit more of a chance. I'm going to quit it and restart it. I was going to quit. I can quit that and 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 that. Okay, where's my VS Code window? Oh, it's taking a long time to open up. This is unpleasant. What is going on? There's live share. Click on the share button. It still says it's activating extensions, so maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's still waking up. It's getting more and more like.
Do you have you wouldn't have some modal dialog box in the background somewhere asking you to approve something?
I don't think so. Okay. Oh, there we go. Starting collaboration session.
All right.
It's coming. So yeah, when I worked full time on an ensemble with the Cucumber team, we used to maintain a Yak map like this all the time. Mm-hmm. Like we tried to keep it up to date. Like during while we were coding, somebody would be sort of modeling what are we doing now and putting nodes into the tree. Sometimes we'd get a bit undisciplined and we'd have to come back to it and update it. But we tried to always have this to give us context of like. Right, I'm right down in the weeds here doing this little thing. Why am I doing that? I'm doing it because ultimately what I want to do is deliver this inactive contributor bot and we want to deliver this rule. And, you've got a tree of the kind of purpose. A tree of purpose.
Ooh. I wonder what the Old Norse name for that is.
Okay, I'm gonna Zoom chat you the live share link. Here it comes.
Cool. I'll be right there. There we go. I even have my GitHub Authenticator dongle just in case that comes up. Layout this. Live share, activating extensions. Good. Launching code.
Is there a way to tell Zoom to keep on top? There we go. Great.
Great. I think I'm in, or almost. Maybe not quite. What's going on right here? Live share, session details, join. Oh, here we go. Trust. Join collaboration session. Terminal. Bingo. Passing tests. Matt win. Fabulous. Following Matt win. Great. Do you see me as authenticated, or should I do something about that?
Let me check. I can see you. You seem all right.
Great.
So I think I know what we need to do. So do you want me to navigate you?
Navigate. Yeah, I'll drive. No
All
problem.
right. So I think, so as you see in the terminal, we've got these deprecated warnings. It says deprecated, use hasCommittedSince instead.
Yes.
Now, I think that's coming from our core logic function, the retiring active contributors TS. Because I think that this is the only place now where we're calling that method from.
Oh, I see. Yes, it has.
Let's check.
Right.
So if we go to get last commit by, I'm going to do this on the screen. If you go to find all references.
Okay.
The only references to that function are in Fake GitHub and OctaKit GitHub where they implement it. Can you see this, Blaise? You can't see the stream,
No, I
can
can't.
you? Do you want me to share my screen so you can see it?
Sure. Do that.
Or if you do the same thing, right? If you come here to this line here where we've got the get last commit by function.
Yeah.
If you right click that,
Go
you
to
should have
definition.
find all references. It's the first one in the second section. There's a line just above it, just below peak. You should be able to do find all references.
Yep. Nice. Oh, how interesting. This is very nice.
And basically you can see that it's the two places where we've got a concrete implementation of this interface, Fake GitHub and OctaKit GitHub.
Yep.
Those have both got it. Well, that's fair enough because they needed to implement it to satisfy the interface. And then the other place we're using it is in retiring active contributors.
Right.
down here on line 23. So I think if we can fix this to do, then I think that deprecation warning will go away, and then we can start to remove this method everywhere.
Yes.
So,
sure.
let's just get stuck in. If you get down to line 23, and I'm going to follow you.
Okay.
Let's just change the call from github.getLastCommitBy to github.hasCommittedSince.
No, actually, it's going to also be, yeah.
Okay, and what arguments does that take? Can you see?
It takes
You've got an extra bracket at the end here. Just get rid of that. So yeah, so the author is user. It's called user here. We could rename that. Do you want to rename it? Rename the variable. If you go to line 21, you can right click, rename symbol. It's F2 on my keyboard.
And we want to call it what? Author?
Author.
Oh, right, because that's the name in the GitHub API. Is that right?
Okay. And then, so you're going to pass that to hasCommittedSince, author. And then what's the second argument?
The second one is date.
So the date would be 1 year ago. So let's make it, imagine we've got a variable called 1 year ago.
One. Is that what you guys
yeah, that's it. Right. Now this call here that's on line 23 actually wants to be in the conditional that's on line 28, doesn't it? Because that's where we say if. So do you want to grab all of the await GitHub has committed since stuff and put it inside of replace the bit inside the if statement on line 28. So all that days since last commit is greater than 365. Just paste that in instead.
In the days since last commit?
So you see on line 28, the inside the if statement, in the guts of the if statement.
I see, right. Oh.
Like all of this stuff here. Yeah, let's replace that with a call to say has committed, await GitHub has committed since. Great. And I'll need to have parentheses around it for the if statement. Around the actual around the await and everything.
Oh, I see. Oh, not around the if, of course.
No.
Okay. If await. Maybe I should.
So move that left bracket. You want one at the end there. You want one at the end.
I do. Right?
But your beginning one doesn't want to be at GitHub. It wants to be at await.
Oh.
Because that's all one.
I see.
One call. There you go. Great. Right. So now we need to give it a 1 year ago.
All right.
So, do
we have to make a constant, or that's just past?
Yeah, let's do that on the line above the if statement. Const 1 year ago equals. And then I'm going to do a little bit of Googling to see. We might need to reuse some of that stuff we've got up there.
Oh, we had didn't we have a date? Didn't we have a date? Didn't we do some date math in the test? Let's see here.
Okay, so you can use set full year.
Oh,
that's ugly.
Commit date. Oh, today get date minus days ago, minus 365. We had Oh, we have days ago. Create commit user days ago. Here, let me show you what it looks like. And then we can say today get date minus 365.
And I'm still Googling. I'm not listening to you right now.
Okay.
Set full year. Think that'll work?
Yeah, I don't know, but it doesn't like.
But we don't really 1 day, do we? We need to be 1 day times 365, I suppose.
1 day. Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Yes. Yeah. Or we could work out. We could just make it here 1 year. Do you want to just say 1 year?
Do that as well.
Because we're not really doing much with the days. Times leap years and such will get a little bit messy, but we could actually do 166 if we wanted to.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, because it might actually end up messy that if we use days. Yeah. So there's another strategy I just read about which we could try that's different to this.
Yeah.
Do you want to try it? I think we can just scrub out all of the code from 22 to 27 for this.
Okay. Yeah.
No, 27. Yeah, there. Yeah. So what you do is you do new date. No, like where it's on the right hand side of line 24. So you've got new date, but then just close parens.
Okay.
And then on the result of that called dot set full year.
Oh wow.
Capital F. Yeah. Open brackets. No, round brackets. Sorry. Open parens. New date. Open close parens on the new date. Dot get full year. So you need to create another new instance of date.
Oh, dot.
You with me? So
we're going to make it.
You're going to pass. What you're going to pass to set full year is a number, and we're going to get that number by creating a new date and asking that what its get full year is, and then minusing 1 from that. So we need to create a. This is like you could imagine we have a temporary variable called 1 year, last year or something. But we can just do it in line. So you need a capital D for date.
Oh, I see.
And then call dot get full year on that. No, on the result of the constructor. Your dot's in the way there. It's going to be messing you up. Get rid of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Call dot get full year on that date. Open close parens. You don't need a 0 in there, and then minus 1 from that get full year. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And that should be what we want for our 1 year ago variable. What's the compiler complaining about?
Probably wants me to end.
Oh, it's just formatting. If I save, that'll make it happy. And we can get rid of this to do here now, right? Because we've just done that. So why is 1 year ago different? What's it complaining about? Argument type number is not assignable to date. Oh, so we haven't made a date. That's interesting. Okay, right.
Yeah, I think.
I was just wondering on the other side. Sorry, I interrupted you. There's the window. I can't get it open because it's sort of like it's got some boards on the like you can't see it from here. It's on the other side of the building, but it's got like 4 boards like closing it.
Oh,
Like
is James around?
Pardon me?
Right, James, can you take those off now? Those straps you put on the outside of the windows. Just,
Those are the 2 windows we changed, remember? So, yeah.
so they're glued in now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Can you get them out of Amy's way?
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, thanks. I didn't know that you were also doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, so it looks like maybe we need to new date this whole thing that comes out of here.
Yeah.
So wrap everything on the right-hand side of 1 year ago in another new date.
Oh, but then it'll still cast it as a date, right? Don't we need to
Try that.
convert it to number? Okay. New date.
I think we need another round bracket on the right, do we? No, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's just long line, that was all. Right, now it's happy.
Wow.
New date, new date, new date, new date.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
And so is this then considered the idiomatic way of saying a year ago?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, according to my Googling, it seems pretty popular. Yeah. Do you think we can do anything rather than adding a comment? Is there anything we can do to name it, to name things or extract things?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Oh, that's okay.
I mean, we could pull it out into a function.
No, well, I suppose that might be. Yeah, actually, let's do that. Because
So
it's doing a bit of work. And
what you could do is you could
Yeah.
do const 1 year ago equals, and then we'll just make an inline arrow function. So on the right hand side of the circle, just put like open close parens and then an arrow.
You mean like that?
Like just with an equal sign rather than a minus. That's all.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So that's made 1 year ago into a function, and then on line 25 you can call it. So on line 25 you use open close parens to get you 1 year ago.
Author, alumni team.
Here where you use 1 year ago, you now need to call it, because otherwise you're passing in a function that
I
can
see.
get a
Right,
date,
right.
but what you want to do is actually call that function. There you go. And now we can move that anywhere. So we can grab line 22 and stick it like up at the top somewhere, or we could even extract it out into another file. So we don't have to see it.
I think that might be sort of elegant, because it's the sort of thing that could easily be reused in other places.
Right, yeah, it could be in a library even. Let's
Yeah.
make an NPM package with one function in it.
Left pad. Like left pad.
Yeah, exactly.
We get an NPM called last year.
Love it. We'll be famous.
Yeah, I know, especially when we decide to remove it.
Yeah, so you need to paste it somewhere though.
Okay, so let's
somewhere
take,
above this code. I think. I don't think we can hoist it. If it's if it's a lambda function. Good. You haven't got your like JavaScript reformatter thing set up, have you?
not on VS Code.
All right. Well, so look, we're done. We've just started doing refactoring, but we didn't even run the test. But I think if we run the tests, we will find that we're no longer getting the deprecation warnings.
Oh, I see. Because the tests don't exercise the path that.
Well, it's not. I mean, the tests are exercising the core logic, and the core logic is no longer using.
Using that, right?
Get last commit by. Ooh.
No, but this is good. This is exactly what we want. We want these steps to fail.
Well.
Oh, maybe not. Hang on. That's like in team conversion.
No, it
Oh,
looks
that's
like
right.
it's not working.
Well, I think it's because
Interesting.
user slug.
Interesting. It looks like it's not working. So I wonder whether 1 year ago works the way we expect it to. We could log it.
Should we put in a breakpoint?
Yeah, so the different options we've got here, we could log it, or we could like wrap a unit test around something, either 1 year ago, if we suspect that's what it is, or around the whole retire inactive contributors function. It's kind of tempting to just do a bit of logging right now, because
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So what we could do is we could I'll just do it here. You could do like
Console.log.
exactly. Hang on, let me do it, Blaise.
Okay. Sure.
Console log today, and then 1 year. Okay, and then if we run the cukes again, do you see the console output? Does it work for you?
Yeah.
It's not, because I know for some people it's gone a bit crazy, a bit hard to read.
Let's see. Debug. Yeah, I see the console output. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so
Oh, maybe I don't see the
today
console.
is 2022-08-10, and 1 year ago is 2021-08-10. Today's, so that looks like 1 year ago is working, doesn't it? Because that's the date we would expect.
Yes. Okay.
So what else is going on then? Have we got our logic back to front?
No, I'm not sure we
read it
do
out.
because we
If-
get members of
If the
committers.
user has committed, oh yeah, so we need a not, right? Because if the user
right.
has committed since a year ago, then we don't want to move them into the alumni team.
Right. So it's not. So basically,
We need to just put a not. We need to invert the logic on this if statement.
so if not,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you just literally put a bang in front of the await. Put an exclamation mark in front of the await. Why doesn't it like that? It wants more brackets around it because it's JavaScript. Brackets everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
All right, I think that's going to work. Should we run the tests?
Yep.
You want to try it? You try it. You try it. This is exciting. It's way cleaner than what we had before, isn't it?
Oh my God. Yeah. It looks really nice. Yeah. Definitely.
Yay! All right. So this is definitely worth a commit.
Yes.
And then we can start just ripping out all the old code because we don't need it no more. How exciting.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to use the GitHub thing on my IDE so we can get the co-authored by thing. So what should I write as the Blaise? Let me write the commit message here, and then we.
Oh
get
yeah.
the co-authored
You
by.
do it. Yeah.
So what did we do? We
What?
replace.
Don't we have an issue? Let me see if we had an issue ID.
Oh yeah. Replace. Get last commit by with has committed since in retire. Just saying core.
Oh, okay.
Logic.
No, we had a.
Okay, I'm committing it. Okay, we're done. So, do you want to navigate me for what we do next? Do you know what we want to do next? Let's go back to the app map.
I think, yeah, let's go back to the outline. I think what we want to do is,
Are you looking at Miro, or do you want me to screen share?
no, I'm looking at, well, we might screen share for the benefit of the stream.
Yeah, I've got it on the stream. as
Do,
well.
okay, great. Yeah,
So I could add another node here
I've
just
done
for what we've just done, which was to replace in retire inactive
we can switch that to green.
Yep.
We
So the
don't-
question is, are we
need-
done, or are there some other things dangling underneath of this task?
The tests are done. I don't think we need to change the tests. What we might need to do, and I don't know if this is the right time, is when we actually go to the well, no, I guess the rest happens in the octogit. Oh, implement got octogit. Are we already getting the object back from GitHub?
Right, so we're in the middle of implementing get last commit by, aren't we?
Right.
And actually, what we want to do is not implement get last commit by, but implement
We want to get users or
committed since.
has committed since.
And I think we did implement that.
Get members of. Okay.
But let's
So if we
check.
get-
But is there anything left to do in terms of this replacement? Like, are there any vestiges of get last commit by in the code still?
In the tests, the deprecation warnings.
Right, there's the deprecation warning. So we've got this to do here, deprecated, remove this method and change usages to has committed since. So so I suggest what we do is we try deleting this and try and get rid of everything related to it now. Let's clean up.
Yeah. Sure,
So-
because there's no one's using it.
Yeah. So you navigate me. What should I do?
Okay, so what we want to do is go over to we want to open I guess we can delete line 12.
The to do.
Let's do this. Let's remove line 11. Excuse me, line 13. Sorry. Line 13.
Yeah.
And we can remove line 12.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the top level we've gotten rid of those two.
Okay.
We probably could have leveraged the IDE and looked for references.
Well, we could see.
But we can also.
We could run the
this is small
build.
enough.
So if we run npm run build, I think that'll do a TypeScript build.
Yes. That seems.
There's something wrong with that. It should be. There's something wrong with this. I wonder if we should fix it. This is a little bit rabbit holey, but I wonder if we should try and fix it now, because
Well, we should because otherwise we're
TSC
doing incomplete builds.
build.
What is our
That's
build
gonna
target?
include-
Presumably there's a build target in our package.json or something called build.
What we have is this tsconfig file.
Oh, that's.
I
what it's
don't know
called.
why. Because, actually, no, there isn't a reason why the build would fail. Because what we've got is we've just got these methods that are unused. Yeah. So actually, what we could have done if we would have been using IntelliJ, we could have done safe delete, and it would have gone and found all the usages and deleted them. But we are going to have to just do There isn't any reason why the build would fail if there were additional methods on these classes.
No, it's just a code smell.
Yeah.
But it's not a failure.
So we need to delete it from OctoKit GitHub, right?
Yes, and from the tests.
So I wonder if we ever wrote a test for that one. Because whereas it was as soon as we were starting to, what's this? Working out for users committed recently. Yeah, so this is using hasCommittedSince on this
Yeah.
one, so it's not in that test. And what about the fake one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
so
last
this has still
commit
got
by.
get last commit by, so we can get rid of that as well. Have we got any more? I guess we can also look for to-dos.
Oh, sure.
What would our to-do? I've got a list thing that lists to-dos somewhere. Is it going to give me them? No. I thought I had a to-do tree thing. Don't know where it's gone.
Was it in npm run? What would you just ran test, right? Npm run test.
Okay, so we have still got a couple. There's one here. Oh, this is in JavaScript. We don't care about that. There's one in this TypeScript file though. Implement this using actual API calls to GitHub via Octokit library. Well, we are doing that. Alright, so here's something interesting. If you follow me to here, look.
Yeah.
This type commit is probably dead
That's from
now.
it.
We created that to model the commit that was returned from get last commit by, but now we don't have a concept of a commit. We just have a boolean. So I don't think we need
Search
it.
for references. Do you want to search for references?
Yeah, let's do that. So if I go through to the original and then I go find all references. Yeah, I've got it in. It's just 2 imports. Here, create commit. Oh, so we're using it in the tests in this fake GitHub thing.
Oh, I see.
So maybe we could move it into the fake GitHub so it can use it for making a fake commit.
Yeah, it shouldn't be in the core.
Shouldn't be in the production
or
code
in
anymore.
the
should
adapter.
it? Shall I move it then?
Yes. So
gonna
copy
delete
that
it from
and
here.
open fake github.ts.
Paste it into here.
There might have even been a smart, like a move
Yeah.
IDE move thing, but anyway.
And I wonder we could even, yeah, I guess calling it commit's okay because it's just private in here, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're using it. Good, commit. Okay.
And then that one we can delete this usage here because we're not using it. And that's confusing, isn't it? We've got 2 GitHubs.
Oh wow.
One's the real GitHub API from GitHub, and the other one is our adapter. So maybe we should give a different
Octokit
one.
or something. Should we call it Octokit? Oh, I see. We do call it Octokit later on down below.
Yeah, well, there's a different thing. I mean, it's all their types, isn't it? I wonder if we should rename our type to be a bit more like
underscore GitHub or something.
Vivid. Well, what else could we call it? Like metaphorically.
So metaphorically, we could call it whatever, CVS or version control. In other words, it's coming from, or we could call it whatever repository.
Yeah, it's a bit more than just a version control because it's got all this like teams and stuff. So, but
it's our source of authority. It's from source.
What about like GitHub client? And we've got 2 implementations: the fake GitHub client and the Octokit GitHub client. Does that?
Well, so first of all, that's great. And then I guess if we wanted to think about Git more broadly, right? Because there are people who use non-GitHub. I mean, this thing is specific to GitHub, so yeah, GitHub client would be good. Yeah. If we wanted to have a more general purpose Git client, then we might call it Git client. Yeah. And then have a GitHub specific.
Yeah. But what this thing's job is to let us talk to GitHub
hub
to remove users and find out when they last committed. So
Yeah, GitHub client. Yeah.
what do you think about another name for this thing?
GitHub client, I think, is good
Okay, let's
because
try that.
it suggests that it's a client of GitHub and that it's our client because
Yeah.
we're the ones doing it.
Okay, so we've renamed it there. It's renamed here, so that's a bit clearer now. We've got a GitHub and a GitHub client.
Mm-hmm.
And then in fake GitHub, yeah, we're calling it GitHub client in here as well. Okay, I like this. I think this is good. So should we commit this?
Yes, I think that's a good idea. I mean, this is a good. No, we might want to run the tests just.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Because we've taken stuff out.
Yeah, we've done a lot of refactoring. It's funny that you get a bit spoilt by leaning on types to assume that
Yeah.
everything's working, but you never know. All right.
Good.
So I'm going to add Blaise. And what's our commit message? Clean up all.
Well, yes, we got rid of the we removed the redundant or unnecessary type and then I think we also changed the name. We disambiguated our
Right.
our
So
client
remove-
implementation from GitHub's API.
Disambiguated from GitHub's own type. One other tiny thing I noticed is that we're sometimes using lowercase h and sometimes uppercase. This one
Yeah.
here has got an uppercase h. I think it's the only one.
Oh, I see.
Because there it's GitHub client, and I
Yeah.
think that in the OctaKit one, it's they use capital H, GitHub.
Okay.
So
Then
I
we
guess
should
we
flip it
should
the other way. The
rename.
file names have capital H also.
Oh, your file names, yeah. It's not very good at keeping them together. But so we should really rename that to have a capital H. And fake GitHub is good, but the GitHub client should also rename to have a capital H.
Now, OctaKit GitHub has lowercase h.
I think I just fixed that. But the
Oh, okay.
files,
I mean, the file names is what I'm talking.
yeah. Okay, so let's try and rename it and see if it'll work. And then rename the test.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Does it update all the references?
I think so.
No,
Let's see here.
that's still wrong.
Oh no.
Yeah, all of
GitHub
these are wrong.
adapter. Where is GitHub adapter? That one didn't get updated. Oh, I see. GitHub adapter is on 34, line 34 of the tests.
Yeah, so you want that to be a capital H there as well, eh? Maybe we should call that client now.
Yeah, because yes, we should call it client.
Or we've just been calling it GitHub in the other code, haven't we? Like that. And it
Yeah,
reads like the other code. What do you think?
but isn't there a GitHub?
Yeah, okay, let's keep it clear. Super clear. GitHub client.
I mean, what some people
Yeah.
might do is they might use a all lowercase GitHub,
Yeah.
but I don't know. That's
Let's at least not have adapter and client because it's confusing.
Mhm.
Two kind of different names for the same thing.
yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
GitHub client. Okay, so that's all of the ones in the OctaKit GitHub tests. Right, so that with it has committed since, we're still in the middle of the other thing we need to do with this is we need to make it loop over all the repos. So we need to get that in the yak map, right?
Yes.
Um,
And that's going to be further up the tree.
so,
Oh wait, did we do our commit?
oh, sorry, yeah, thank you. Yeah, dot.
And here we've been changing some method names. We might want to run the tests one more time.
Okay.
Although we probably should have done that. Well, yeah, run the tests and then.
I'm going to make the commit but not push it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we can always amend.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Git push.
yeah. So yeah, there's these, in terms of what we've got left to do to finish has committed since. Well, let's go back to the yak map then now.
Yeah.
So replace get last commit by with has committed since. I feel like we're done with that, right?
Yeah.
So we can replace that with green.
Yeah, for sure.
And then as far as, and so we had a little bit of clean up here that we did. I'm just going to write that down just for history's
Yeah.
sake.
Yeah.
But in terms of implementing has committed since, that's what we're trying to do. Are we done?
Yeah.
Or have we got other things we need to do?
Well, I think we have to read in the, so we're getting get members of, has committed since, the result of that. Oh, I see. This is all in, oh, implement GitHub adapter. You might want to cross out adapter and call it client.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a strike through on adapter. And
Yeah,
exactly.
it doesn't give you mixed fonts in
Oh.
the same node,
Oh.
sadly.
Okay. So, oh, actually deploy GitHub. Implement fake GitHub adapter. It seems like we would need, because this is underneath actually deploy.
Yep.
That's
That's our goal right now, is
a
to
goal, right?
be
Okay.
able to get it really running and working in a test environment, and then we can, if we feel confident in it, we can ship it to production.
Well, do we have the auth stuff working on the real GitHub client?
The auth stuff.
Because that's the other difference between the fake and the real one.
Right, so you're going to need to be able to
Secrets management.
yeah, well, configuration generally, right? So parameterize config. So we got the There's the
Yep.
org name. Probably. Maybe we don't need the org name because we can pick it up. We can read it from the...
Well, we're hard coding it, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, so we need to know exactly. So there's all that hard-coded stuff. There's the auth token, as you said. And there's also the team name. Alumni team name. We might want to make that configurable too, because that's hard-coded.
Right.
If I look at somewhere in retiring active contributors, I guess we put it. We've hard-coded the alumni team, the committers team.
And the repo, or the org name.
Yeah. So let's just put team names. So those are all going to need to be parameterized so you can configure them from your GitHub action. So that'll be another piece of work that we'll need to do, but we're not going to do it today. But we've noted down that we're going to need to do it in order to be done.
In the feature file, wasn't there a scenario for private, or for like local privileges?
Yeah. So we're going to have to add more
Exactly.
sophistication to it to be able to look through all of the teams. Yeah. And that might be what we want to do instead of, and all of the repos, in fact, and check all of the repos, scan all of the repos for any additional security. Yeah, any additional privileges. But let's get back to this one. In terms of implementing hasCommittedSince, if we look at the code for hasCommittedSince.
Yeah. Oh, I think if we look at the code.
So if we come here.
hasCommittedSince, we repos.github. So somewhere in OctoKit, we need to do get a list of repos.
Yeah. So that's the other thing we need to do is iterate over all of the repos when we check for whether they've committed recently. So we're going to need to put that into the yak map as another thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, because the yak map has add user to team and remove user to team, but it doesn't have.
So that's the next thing we need to do, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I think when we've done that, hasCommittedSince is good, and we could go on to do these other two. Add user to team and remove user from team. And when we've got those two, then we've got a fully functioning OctoKit GitHub client, and then we could try deploying it.
Yeah.
And we could probably test it manually with the hard-coded stuff, and then maybe the auth token will have to parameterize, and then we can look at parameterizing the other stuff.
Yeah, if you run it through manually, it'll do the little browser base. It'll prompt you for an auth token.
Will
but
it?
we don't want. Yeah, I think if you step.
Oh, you
through
mean
it
like it'll
that way.
fire up an error?
It'll fire up a browser, and then if you're logged in, it'll use your JWT or whatever.
Oh yeah,
And-
I've never seen GitHub Actions do that. I thought they kind of run in the background, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it anyway.
Yeah.
We can see.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I've only done that with other GitHub, REST API stuff, not with the actions. So, okay. So I guess as navigator, I would suggest in OctoKit GitHub.ts creating a get list of repos.
Yeah. So here we're gonna call that instead of. Yeah. But it's 12:30, Blaise. I think we need to call it a day for today.
Yes.
Should we do a
Yes.
teeny little retro, just a real 5-minute
Absolutely.
one?
No, absolutely fantastic.
Oh, okay. I've got a bunch of JavaScript files that I've failed to commit. That's why you should run the tests.
But the tests don't show the uncommitted one, right? Okay.
Yeah, but running the tests compiles the JavaScript, and
Yes.
so yeah, it's just
Yeah.
useful.
Got it. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Do we need to do a dist build or whatever?
Well, that's what I mean. When you run the test, it does that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm quite proud of our Yak map. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think this will help.
Quickly retro. Where is the retro? It's down the bottom, somewhere down here. Oh, have we already got one ready for us? Amazing. Did you do that?
No, I haven't. Are you
Okay,
kidding?
on that.
I'm terrible at that sort of
Okay,
thing.
so Matt and Blaise, and what did we do? We drew a Yak map.
So we drew a Yak map to illustrate our current state with respect to the goal.
And then what did we do?
We disambiguated some of the names so that it was more clear what each piece
I'm
of
just going
code
to write
did.
clearer names because we're running out of space. And what else did we do?
And then we got rid of we replaced.
We got rid of that old, was it get
Yeah.
last commit by?
Yeah.
Cool. Past successes, possible futures. That's what Kate wants us to do.
Okay. So,
Speak to
okay.
me. You speak to me, I'm going to write down what you say.
Yeah. So past successes were, so we,
What's worked well today?
I think what's worked well today was, actually, I think it was useful to, I think the Yak map helped distinguish between things that needed to happen when, now versus, it helped prioritize. It helped guide the prioritization decision.
Yeah.
Um,
I liked having the Yak map. I'm going to thumbs that up. It didn't take that long to do in the end, did it?
No, not at all, actually. Let's see.
Any other successes today? I've got one. My success would be that we quickly did the necessary refactoring in the retire inactive contributors function. Like we've completely finished that loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. What about futures? If you think to the future, what could we do in the future based on what we've learned from today?
Wasn't there one thing about you? Didn't you say you had you thought you had a to-do tree? It was something in the test that would print out the to-dos.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem to be showing up.
Have a clearer to-do tree in my...
Yeah. And then the other thing we might do is, we've got the Yak map. Maybe even have the Yak map or some aspect of it, maybe even in the doc.
Which doc?
Oh yeah. So there's, I guess in the README, there's a sequence diagram that sort of shows you what we expect to have happen when things are working.
Yeah.
But that's like the runtime sequence diagram. It isn't a kind of a...
Thing is, by the time we've done with this feature, that Yak map should be empty. Or it should all be all green. but we could put it in the pull request. One thing I was
Yeah.
thinking about the future is I would like it if we were habitually using the Yak map now. Like if we were
Yeah.
always going back to the Yak map to make sure it's in sync with what we
Yeah.
think we're doing, and everybody understands why we're doing what we're doing, and you know, just yeah.
In fact, ideally,
Keep it alive.
we might almost wanted to we almost might want to have the labels in the Yak map, like the descriptors, be either links or even like verbatim quotes from the feature files, or somehow refer back to the feature files.
Go on.
So, for example, essentially the titles of the nodes in the Yak map correspond roughly to the names of steps, like givens, or actually,
No, they're
No,
not the
no,
same as
no, no.
givens.
they're
but
not the same as givens.
They're well, they're goals. They're nested goals. I mean, we did have one which is
Yes.
like the rule.
Oh, that's it. The rule,
Somewhere.
yeah.
There's the rule.
But I think if there were
and then everything else down here is just development tasks. So this is like, you know,
right.
yeah, and in Jira you'd have a checklist of these things,
Yeah.
right? Or in Scrum, if you're doing Scrum by the old school books, you'd be every single one of these things. You'd have to estimate it in hours and come up with it all at the beginning of the 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we have got the rule there. I'm gonna link
So
to
I think
this.
that basically just somehow if there's some relationship back to an active contributor about rule, users become inactive for a year. Okay. I guess another rule is the users must be a member of some team. And so when we get the list of when we get the repo and the hasCommittedSince, basically what we're doing is we're figuring out what team they're members of.
Yeah. Sorry, my phone's going.
No, that's cool.
No.
Yeah, maybe that's overthinking it. I mean, maybe the rule that's just enough of a. But then it would help someone trying to figure out the relationship between the map and where it sits with respect to its level of abstraction. Then they can map up the rule with the appropriate part of the feature, and then they can sort of orient themselves from that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a problem that a lot of product managers have with respect to navigating source code. If they don't have development experience with that particular framework, then they won't intuitively know where to look in the source for like the top level functions or a particular feature.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that some of the things on the Yak map, I'm going to just make a link to it because I copied the link. Some of the things in the Yak map are development tasks, and some of them are like changes you need to make in the code.
Yeah.
And some of them are more like just, I don't know, like small projects or something, like intentions.
Yeah, because they have a consequence outside of the code.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, I'm glad to have introduced you to the concept of the Yak map, Blaise.
Totally.
And
Yeah, this is
we
awesome.
can keep playing with it over the future sessions, and then. But I think this is the one we want to do next, isn't it? Iterate over all repos when checking for recent commits. I'm going to mark that one as gold because I think that's where we're going next.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I am around next week. I'm going to take 2 weeks off for the last 2 weeks of August. I'm
Okay.
around next week, so I'll see you then, if not
Yeah,
before.
absolutely.
If you
Yeah,
wanna spend any time pairing or talking about what you could work on outside
Yeah.
of this, just ping me and we can make a time
Yeah.
because we're
That sounds awesome. That sounds
Yeah.
really, really good. Because I think it's it's a good opportunity to do it.
yeah, dead right. All right, cheers, Blaise.
Cheers. Take
Stopping
care.
the stream.